about a boy born strangely, who crashed to the earth in an inferno and was taken in by his half-brother, who raised him and loved him as if he was his very own son, and the boy was none the wiser and knew him as his very own father. He would grow up to have an odd sense of humor and wear glasses and watch terrible movies, and talk with his friends for hours and hours and hours online, and look up to the sky at night and wonder to himself quietly if this was all his life would ever be. All he really knew was his suburban sprawl, his meager house, his foster father's tender care and affection, and his online companions, but he was honest, truly, deeply honest with himself. That's all he really needed. What could he possibly want more? I guess he'd been waiting a pretty long time for a game he'd been excited for, a game he wanted to play with all of his friends, and on his 13th birthday, the day he got the name John, he would. Now, John had a penchant for being a bit of a prankster, so when he started the game, he fooled around quite a lot. Made a huge mess everywhere, knocked things all over. It really wasn't productive in the least. But to be fair, the game didn't seem to have a point at first, even as a layered complicated system over complicated system, seemingly just for convolution's sake. But John worked through the menus and complexity as best as he could, and he seemed to get a decent handle on it eventually, solving the first puzzle and allowing himself a small feeling of victory, even if it was over something comparatively simplistic. But that moment didn't last, because a meteor, seemingly out of nowhere, came hurtling down from all the way in space. It would have crushed him in his house had he not at the crucial moment taken a bite of a magic apple which spared him and his place and prepared him for his quest. You see, John wasn't just playing a game, it was unbeknownst to him, turning the key that opened his future's door, changing the entire course of his life, and it wasn't actually even the first time this had happened. This had been repeated an infinite number of times before now. Though, how could he have possibly known that? But this time was different. This time everything would work out. He would finally manage to overcome everything in his path. See, John would eventually find himself in a multitude of situations that looked bleak, the world dangerous. But he would hear a voice calling out to him, and that voice would sing, loudly, but as calmly as he could, to John, saying, "John, do the windy thing."